Please stand by.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Warning. What is your name?
I am Jay Ramone, and this is the Jay Ramone Podcast.
If the FCC knew you were doing drugs on the air, shut us down!
This gets more work done more accurately.
I will sit down with bands, artists, chefs, business owners, and fellow Oklahomans to talk about their projects and dealing with day-to-day life.
This stuff can give you brain damage.
This is the Jay Ramone Podcast.
Power of the internet is truly amazing.
This is the Jay Ramone Podcast, and I am here with Brian from the band Good Terms, and I reached out to you via Instagram at first and eventually got through the right channels. I became a fan of your band literally because of that platform, because of Instagram. Just scroll. I'm one of those guys that doom scrolls reels. Like, I may not interact with a bunch, but I sit there and just scroll and watch. And it was one of the reels of the breakdowns of one of your songs. And I think it said something about Y'alternative or something in it.
Sure.
And I was blown away. And then from there, I started watching more of your reels. And then I went to go listen to your music. And I was even more amazed then because you guys combined all of these styles that I love into one project, not just pop punk and emo and screamo moments, but there's breakdowns. And then as I grew up a French horn player and was a French horn player in college and all of that. So when I heard the odd time signatures, I was like, okay, this band is on a different level than what I was prepared for. So how did that come about? Because that sounds like, to me, one of the craziest things ever, combining all of those at once. But you guys made it work.
Well, we've been friends for a long time. Like, we went to certain members went to elementary school together. We went to rival high schools. We met in college. We've known each other for a long time, through a lot of phases of life, through a lot of musical tastes. So that makes it really easy to reference a lot of kinds of music really quickly. And then we all just like a lot of kinds of music, and like we have a lot of overlap, and we also have some places where, some of us are more into jazz fusion, some of us are more into the really heavy metal hardcore stuff, some of us are more into like the singer-songwriter or the classic or the whatever. So we all just like a lot of different kinds of music. We've been playing a long time. We've known each other a long time. So we all are really familiar with everyone's, like, the full scope of everyone's musical history and taste. And especially with Burnout, we really set out we knew we wanted to do something in the pop punk world, but we really did set out to throw everything at the wall and see what would really resonate. And at this point, we have to like stop ourselves. It's more harder to hold ourselves back from doing more things. And we're, in the future, I think we're going to look for how to, maybe focus a little more. But with Burnout, we were really, really trying to branch out, and we got to
you guys felt like the fan base would lead you in the direction that what they liked. What you didn't know is that we like all of it combined like that.
it's interesting to try to learn the lessons. Like, every song that we thought was risky, there's some fan that those are their favorite songs. Like, there's one fan, our fan, honestly, who's just our friend at this point, Grace, who her top songs on Spotify were the songs Mask and High Right Now, which are, the 4.5
awesome,
fully screamed, heavy one, and then the straight up indie pop synthesizer, just full on funky pop song. And it was like, okay, well, what do we do? What do we do with that? She likes everything. There's no direction to go in there, other than, I guess, just go for it.
I love when bands make a record that it's not the same formula or the same thing over and over again. And the more I dove into Good Terms, and I started watching interviews and listening to the records and stuff, you guys come across as very genuine and wanting to create real art rather than something that's formulaic.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I do think of us still as a pop punk band, Not so much in terms of like we should sound like Blink-182, but just in like a look. We write songs that are catchy, melody focused, and they're of the punk. They're very influenced by punk music. Um, and pop punk is not known for being the most out there musically, um, but it's just what we find ourselves continues to resonate with us as we write. And then as we're writing the things, we keep being like, well, it has a little bit of this flavor, like what it has a little bit of the metalcore flavor, like, well, we know what to do with that, or like it has a little more of the indie pop flavor. Oh, we know what to do with that. Uh, so every time that there's a door that a song can open, we are so down to open that door and every door that's behind it.
So let's talk about the artwork for Burnout. It was done by a legendary graphic artist for bands, Don Fury. He was a staff artist for Warner Brothers for years and worked with, did stuff for Mastodon and Metallica and AFI and all these bands. Are you guys that into graphic artists that you said, we're going to go for it and see, or was there a connection there?
Well, Don was suggested to us by our management team at Secret Friends and Lesser Talents. Shout out to our management team helping us out. And the very first thing that we saw that he did was he did the art for Brain Pain by 4 Year Strong, and we love that record.
An iconic artwork too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you open up his website and you're just like, holy shit, like, and
It's
this is
nuts.
the further down you go, like there's like he did stuff for Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood, like a record that I had when I was a kid and didn't know that he did it on. And again, similar to our music, he has such a wide scope of what he can do. That we're just like this feels like this would be a natural fit for what we're doing. And we just kind of like let him roll. He sent us a couple of ideas back. We focused on, we selected one of the ideas and then he sent us more variations of that and whatnot. And none of us saw the artwork coming. None of us saw. We call him Stu, the boy on the cover, which is short for stupid little idiot dunce boy because he's wearing the dunce cap. Because I do feel like he sums up kind of how we feel sometimes. But yeah, none of us saw that coming. But yeah, he just had a big scope and of art he can do, and he ran with it. And
Unreal.
yeah,
Unreal.
So thankful for him.
So it's so hard for me to narrow down what my favorite songs are on Burnout, but I am a giant Cliffdiver fan, and
Really?
being from Oklahoma, when I saw and I discovered your band before I realized that she had a feature on the album, so I was pleased even more when I saw that. But Chickweed is a little bit of a departure from some of the other record. I absolutely love it.
Oh, dude, thank you.
How did that connection come about and that collaboration happen?
That was another one through our manager team. That was through Casey Cavalieri, who manages us and plays in another great band called the Wonder Years. We had another one of our friends was going to sing on it, and it didn't work out logistically with our timing, and so we were like kind of scrambling. And he was like, "I think I have another person who would be a good fit," and it was Brianna from Cliffdiver. And I remember we were on tour, and Zach was like on the phone with her while she was doing it, like kind of producing her vocal through the phone. And we listened to Cliffdiver, and we were like, I mean, she's rocking, but Cliffdiver is pretty up there in high energy. Like we're doing this kind of tender thing. And of course, I had full faith that she could do it, especially with Casey's backing. And Cliffdiver also has like a range, kind of alludes to the fact that they probably like a lot of different kinds of music. But yeah, when we got that final vocal, we were like, man, this is art, dude. Like it's such a subtle and nuanced performance. It's really beautiful. And then we made a friend.
There's a lot of similarities between the two bands, the way you take creating art and making it be genuine. And so I think that's a good fit. Burnout, the record that it's on, the deluxe edition, I looked today, the countdown on Spotify said 13 hours before it drops. So it'll be out before this comes out, but they can still have time to go order the deluxe edition vinyl. I actually pre-ordered Burnout on vinyl as soon as I started digging into the record and loving it. I have two little boys, they're 12 and 8, and we listen to music and buy records and stuff. And so once we'd listened to it probably 10 times, my oldest said, Dad, you need to buy that one. And so I had to go pre-order it. But on the deluxe edition, were all of the songs recorded during the same sessions, or did you guys record those afterwards?
Those were done afterwards, and they were. There's two new songs, right? There's Progress, which we put out over the last summer, and there's All In, which is coming out with the deluxe. And Progress, I wrote around the same time as some of the songs on Burnout, like Cough and Keeper, which to me, I always felt like it was such a Burnout song. But by the time it came time to record that song, we were like, well, we'd like to branch out now. We have enough pop punk songs. We'd like to do a metal song. We'd like to do the ballad. Like we would like to do an indie pop song. And after we put out Burnout and it was time to put out another song, Progress was an obvious choice for us. And then our fan base really loved it. And it even grew our band. I mean, it's the first one you saw. If it was the alternative, it would have been Progress.
Yeah.
Which I remember the day before we put it out being like, oh yeah, what's this? I haven't put out a single song in a while. Like, I hope this does well. And that changed. That was probably our best release ever. So we knew that, and we're really touring Burnout a lot while we're playing this song Progress. So it really felt like it was becoming part of the story for us of Burnout. And then All In was the first song that we wrote in the van together. It was on tour. One of the first like longer tours that we did in 2024. And we'd never written a song in the van together. Ivan, our guitar player Ivan, who's driving the van, pulled over at a Guitar Center and bought a cheap guitar just so he could write in the van. And we wrote it in the mountains of West Virginia or Kentucky. I remember that. It was gorgeous, overcast and green. And we're just trying to throw in all these things, now that we've been playing these songs on the road, learning what parts of them, make people tick, what parts are fun for us to play, really trying to focus on those things. So All In, while it was written after a lot of the songs on Burnout, it really was informed by the Burnout experience for us. And so that's why I feel like it's like the final little piece on the Burnout.
I think that's a cool story because there's so many times that those songs take part in the same sessions, and then when you're narrowing down the tracks that are going to make it on the album, and then after the fact, you're like, oh, we got to do a deluxe edition. We've got these 3 left over. I think it's cooler that it really was a part of the story as you were touring the record and it all came out then.
Yeah, absolutely.
How difficult is it as a band, to come together and determine which songs are going to make it on the album?
Well, when you got a band like us, pretty difficult. I think that every single person in our band could lead their own artist project.
I feel that way too.
Yeah, so it's a lot of cooks. It's a lot of head chefs in one kitchen. So yeah, it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of work to figure it out. But at the same time, there's all this arguing that we do, there's all this discussion that we do, all of these like weighing and pros and cons. But it really does feel like at the end of the day, the songs that are going to make it, they just persevere. They're the songs that we go, well, obviously that one. And then eventually we realize that we have so many, oh, obviously that one's, that like, oh, that's the record we probably shouldn't be doing anymore. And that's what happened with this record. There was a point where we made a conscious choice to branch out and start doing some more different things, which is why Progress wasn't on the first release of Burnout. But Progress wasn't like a B-side or cut or anything. We thought it was like a super strong song, and we didn't want it to get lost as track 9 or something. And it definitely didn't get lost. It really got to be spotlit more so the way that we're putting it out. So I'm very happy about that.
Any advice you would give new bands who are just starting out and booking their own tours, DIY and all of that, how to get noticed and get heard?
Well, be consistent for sure. you want to do a whole project all the way through. So you want to play the show, you want to put out the single, you want to put out the music video, you want to have the banging cover art, you want to have social media presence. If that's part of what you do, it's part of what we do. I know some bands out there don't have to do that, but if you're like us, you do. Uh, but I would say figure out what it's going to take to be consistent with that. At what pace can you make all of those things happen? It's everything is is part of a web, or really everything is floating on the same amount of effort and work. So if one of the things that you have is sinking, it's gonna bring down a lot of the other things that you're working on. So be consistent, see things through. Keep in mind the full scope of what you're doing, and I'm gonna say it again: be consistent. Just be consistent. Keep staying out there.
I also wanted to talk about a show you guys have coming up in Dallas. We're based in Oklahoma City, so it's fairly close. You guys are playing the Texas Tea Room in February, the same night as the big game, because I don't think I'm legally allowed to say it. But it's an early show and a watch party. Have you guys ever done anything like this before?
No, man, not at all. And when we realized what day the show was on, because we didn't choose that consciously, we're like, okay,
Right.
this could either be a big problem or it could be the best thing ever. And I think that we're on track to making it the best thing ever.
Will there be wagering on the Puppy Bowl?
Well, I wouldn't want to encourage gambling, but I don't think I would want to discourage it either. So,
thank you so much, Brian, for taking the time to do this. Burnout Deluxe Edition. You can order it from their website now on vinyl. I'll put the link in the description. You can see them in Dallas first week in February. Thank you so much.
Jay, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.